All right, today we're going on a pretty wild journey. We're diving deep inside your own cells to tackle a huge question. How does your DNA, this simple-looking code, actually build, well, you? Let's get into it.
Have you ever really stopped to think about it? How does this invisible code, tucked away inside every cell, create your hair, your eyes, all the little things that make you who you are? It's an amazing story, so let's dive in.
So to get our heads around this, we have to think small. Really small. Our entire story starts inside just one of your body's trillions of cells. And inside each of those cells, there's this protected little bubble, a command center called the nucleus. You can think of it like a high-security vault, because it holds the most valuable thing you own, the complete blueprint for you.
Now, inside that vault, you've got your entire genome. All your genetic info is packed up super neatly into these things called chromosomes. In us humans, that's 23 pairs of them, just incredibly long strands of DNA coiled up super tight.
And if we could zoom in even more, right onto those DNA strands, we'd see they're broken up into different sections. These specific little stretches of code are what we call genes. So what is a gene? The easiest way to think about it is like a single page in that giant blueprint. Each gene has the exact instructions for building one very specific thing, a single protein.
But here's the catch. That master blueprint is way too important to ever leave the safety of the nucleus. So, how does the rest of the cell get the instructions? Well, that brings us to part one of our story, copying the blueprint. So, when your cell needs to build a certain protein, a special little enzyme, kind of like a molecular copy machine, zips over and latches onto that gene. It then scoots along the DNA strand, reading the code and building a temporary working copy. This copy is called messenger RNA, or just mRNA for short. And this whole copying process, it has a name: transcription. It's exactly what it sounds like. The cell is literally transcribing the permanent plan onto a temporary message, one that's actually allowed to leave headquarters. So, with its marching orders in hand, this new mRNA molecule slips out of the nucleus and travels into the main factory floor of the cell, an area called the cytoplasm. Its real mission is just about to start. Okay, the message has been delivered. Now it's time to actually build something. So welcome to part 2, the assembly line.
Out there in the cytoplasm, our little mRNA message finds a machine called a ribosome. And honestly, you can just think of this thing as a tiny protein factory. Its entire job is to read the blueprint and assemble the product.
So how does this factory work? Well, the ribosome clamps onto the mRNA and starts reading the code in little 3-letter words. For every word it reads, another molecule called transfer RNA shows up, and it's carrying the exact building block that the word calls for. One by one, those blocks get linked together and a chain starts to form. And what are these building blocks? They're called amino acids. And here's the really important part. Your body uses 20 different kinds. The exact order of the words on that mRNA blueprint dictates the exact order of amino acids that get linked together. It's a perfect one-to-one translation of the genetic code. So now we have this long, floppy chain of amino acids. But that's not a protein. Not yet. This brings us to the final and kind of magical part of the process, from chain to protein. The second that last amino acid is snapped into place, something amazing happens. The chain doesn't just hang there. It starts to fold and twist and bunch up on itself, all on its own, into a super specific, totally unique 3D shape. And I cannot stress this enough, that final 3D shape is everything. It's what lets the protein do its job. Whether it's an enzyme that digests your food or an antibody that fights off a cold, its function is totally dependent on that one-of-a-kind, perfectly folded shape. And there you have it, from a gene locked in the nucleus, to a message, to a chain, to a final functional protein. It's this incredible molecular dance that builds everything that you are. Which, leads to a pretty important question. If the whole process is this precise, what happens if just one single letter in that original blueprint is wrong?